Here before we start our TN tonight. I want to welcome everybody tonight. I think I met every single person in this room personally, but in case I haven't, my name is Mike Wilk. I'm the president and founder of this company, Five Rings Financial. And Five Rings is a company very similar to a Merrill Lynch or an A.G. Edwards or an Edward Jones or a Schwab. The difference is we work primarily with middle Americans as opposed to millionaires. And that's a huge group of people. 280 million people fit that middle America mode. And so it gives us an unlimited opportunity. And one of the unique things about that group of people is we have almost no competition there. Almost no company in America is serving that 280 million people. So there's this vast number of people who are interested in what we're doing, and yet a very few people actually working with them. So we're excited about what we're doing. I'm going to share with you a little bit a presentation tonight called Career 101, introducing our company to us, how we work, how we're different, and then kind of talk about the next steps in the process. There's generally four types of people who come to our presentation. The first group are those that maybe are looking for a career change. How many of you would agree that there are probably people frustrated about their jobs out there? Anybody agree with that? According to latest statistics, 90% of the people in America who work a job are frustrated about working at that place and wish they could do something different. 90%. That's a pretty extraordinarily high number. So that's group number one, people looking for a career change. The second group are those that maybe are looking, that are from our industry. They're in the financial services industry, they're already licensed, they're working for another company and they're looking for a change of environment, a change of venue, a different change of strategy of how we do business. Third group are those that are maybe looking for a part-time opportunity. We've really become a part-time opportunity type country. You know, it's interesting that when I grew up, Dad worked and that was it, and then we grew into a society where moms and dads both worked, so we had two-income households. We're almost at a point now where it almost takes 3 incomes to support a household. So we've got, you know, a mom working and a dad working and somebody working a part-time job. So there are a lot of people who come to our business and come look at our opportunity because of the part-time strategy that we have, letting people start on a dual career basis. The fourth group of people have absolutely no idea why they're here. And so how many of you fit that category? Anybody here? Okay, that's you. You look like a don't have any idea kind of group. So anyway, so there's generally those 3 types of people, and we're going to address each one of those as we walk through. But before we get started, I want to tell you kind of my story, how I got started doing this. 32 years ago, I sat in a chair just like you at a meeting just like this, and actually at a workshop or a seminar. 32 years ago, I was totally broke. I was 5 years out of college. I'd already had 8 jobs. None of them worked for me. I wasn't a very good job guy. I don't know if any of you are job people or not job people, but I'm not a very good job person. I was an athlete my whole life. I was captain of the track team at the University of Kansas. And when you're an athlete, you're an entrepreneur. You know, if you want to outproduce everybody, you can outproduce everybody. For a period of time, I was in the top 50 in the world. It was my whole life. And then one day out of the clear blue sky, I graduated from college and I had no more track. It's over just that fast. So what am I going to do with my life? So I thought if I worked as hard at a job as I worked at track, I'd be a billionaire. You know, I'd certainly be rich. And so I thought I'd pour all my energies and efforts into this corporate America type thing, and they'd recognize my talents and they would reward me. Didn't take me very long to figure out that's not how corporate America works. I could work side by side with somebody and do 10 times the work, we got the same amount of money. And they might even get the promotion instead of me. It's so frustrating. So I went from job to job to job trying to find an opportunity that would reward me for the effort that I was putting in. I never ever found it in the job market. So 5 years out of college, I find myself $30,000 in debt. $30,000 in debt 30 years ago is like $100,000 today. Imagine being 26 years old and $100,000 in debt. I was in a total mess financially, and I was literally ready to give up at age 26. I mean, why even try? How are you going to dig out of a hole that deep at that point in your life? And one day out of the clear blue sky, I got invited to a financial seminar, which to me was a total surprise. I thought only rich people got invited to financial seminars. I literally thought it was a mistake, but I went just out of curiosity. I thought if I could learn just one thing that would help turn things around for me and my family, it would be worth any price I needed to pay, even if I was embarrassed in front of all these rich people. So I went to the seminar, and it turns out it was not a mistake after all. It was a gentleman giving a class on how the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. And it really boils down to education. We find that in our society today, it's the same thing we teach our agents today. We live in a society where we have no education about money. We have education about reading and writing and arithmetic, but nobody teaches us how to handle our money. And so consequently, what we do is keep repeating poor decisions. We do the things our parents did, and our parents did the things our grandparents did. And we're ending up in a situation in our country where it's literally catastrophic. 90% of Americans who retire today will end up on Social Security only the last 10 years of their life. So imagine working your whole life so that you end up in the worst shape possible. None of us would plan for that, but if we don't plan otherwise, that's where most people are heading. So anyway, I'm at the seminar, I loved it, and they taught these basics and fundamentals and principles about how money works. Well, I'm only going to share one with you tonight. It's all part of our process of how we teach our clients how money works, but they taught this thing about compound interest. You know, when I went to the seminar, I'd heard of compound interest, and I kind of thought I knew how it worked, but the guy that gave the seminar showed me that if I could just save $5 a day, now I'm like probably a lot of people who think that you got to save way more than $5 a day to ever get anywhere. $5 a day seems like such a small amount of money. He said if I saved $5 a day every day of my life for 40 years, I was 26 at the time, that would have made me 66. So it wasn't get rich quick, it's more of get rich eventually. Get rich over a period of time. $5 a day for 40 years at an average 10% interest over 40 years. Now, when we say 10% to our clients today, most people think that's outrageous. Where in the world are you getting 10% today? But if we were doing this for you in 1998, you'd have all thought it was outrageous because it's way low. We're getting 30% on our mutual funds in the late 1990s. Why would we accept 10%? What we're looking at is averages over a period of time. If you investigate the stock market, you'll identify that if you give yourself at least 15 years, 10% is actually a very conservative rate of return. So the guy giving the seminar to me said, Mike, $5 a day for 40 years at 10%, what do you think that's going to be? Well, I had no earthly idea. I was guessing 100,000 or 200,000, maybe something like that, right? Well, $5 a day for 40 years at 10% ends up being $1 million. I was cooked right there. I was done. I mean, I was like, wow. I go to this presentation and he shows me one little thing that guarantees I could be a millionaire in 40 years if I just gave myself enough time. And it changed my life forever. So the bottom line is, after seeing a little thing like this, I set an appointment with the gentleman that did the seminar. He refinanced my finances. He got me going in the right direction. And I got so excited about it, he said that he would offer me a chance to come to work for his company. Well, I thought that was another funny thing, okay? Like I said, getting invited to a financial seminar was crazy. Getting invited to be a financial representative was totally crazy. I had never sold anything in my life, and I was a total financial train wreck. I thought nobody would ever listen to me. But I thought, you know what, I got nothing to lose. He said I could start part-time. He was going to mentor me and train me. He was going to do all the work for the first 6 months, and I'd get half the money. I thought, I have absolutely nothing to lose. I ought to give this a try. I can honestly tell you when I went to work for him, I thought I'd be there for a couple of months, make a couple of $100, and then I'd go get another job somewhere. I did not expect to wake up 32 years later and own a multi-million-dollar company. But it worked out great for me and my family, obviously, but it also worked out great for the thousands of agents that represent our company nationwide and the hundreds of thousands of clients that we have helped move from the wrong path to the right path. In 32 years now, I've built 4 companies, and in those 4 companies, we've hired and trained over 24,000 agents in all 50 states, and we've helped well in excess of 600,000 clients now. 600,000 clients who were on the wrong path before they came to our meetings and are now on the right path with light at the end of the tunnel, hope that they have a chance for financial dignity. So anyway, I went to work for him. I worked part-time for 10 months. I started on a part-time basis, which for me, it was essential. There's no way I could have gone full-time, straight commission at that point in my life. Little kids running around, you know, I got little children, I've got responsibilities and bills I've never sold before. So the chance to start part-time was phenomenal for me. I worked with my mentor for those 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 months. At the end of 10 months, I was making $12,000 a month part-time. Now, I started this in Kansas. And in Kansas, 32 years ago, $12,000 a month was a great part-time job. I don't know if it fits, does it fit a part-time job here for anybody here? I mean, honestly, it seemed too good to be true. It was crazy. At the end of 10 months, I'd paid off 100% of my debts. I'd paid off that whole $30,000. I'd paid off both my cars, and I'm making $12,000 a month. Seemed like all the money in the world. Until I went full-time. At that point, I had enough courage to leave my job and do this on a full-time basis. My first year full-time, I made $193,000. Second year, $450,000. Third year, $600,000, and then it went out of control after that. Folks, and I don't tell you that to pat myself on the back. because you got to remember what I said. I'd never sold anything before in my life. I had no financial experience whatsoever. I had a great mentor, a great trainer, and a great system, and I wasn't afraid to work hard. And all I did was not invent the wheel. I just worked hard and kept working hard and working hard. And I'm still doing the same thing today, 32 years later, that I was doing, at that point when I started. So I'm the same guy that was putting ceiling tile and insulation in commercial buildings like this 32 years ago. I just found a different vehicle to drive. I tell people every day in my interviews that when you go to work for a financial opportunity, it's like driving a car. You get to choose what kind of car you want to drive. You can either drive a smart car or you can drive a Ferrari. And jobs are smart cars. I used to say Yugo, but nobody even remembers what a Yugo is. Anybody remember what a Yugo is? Okay. So anyway, if there's anybody under 30, they look at you funny. So a Yugo, it's either a Yugo. Jobs are Yugos. They're smart cars. They're they'll get you from A to B, but they're low performance, aren't they? But a Ferrari is the highest performance car in the world. The financial industry is the highest performance industry in the world. There are more people making $100,000 a year and more people making $1 million a year in our industry than any other industry on earth. If you can find the right opportunity, the right company, the right mentors, the right trainers, it makes all the difference in the world. So anyway, now I'm kind of in the business of helping people make $1 million a year. So far in our 32 years, we've helped 14 people make $1 million a year or more. Hundreds of people make six-figure incomes, and thousands of people are making $10 and $20 and $30 and $40,000 a year part-time or full-time. So we have quite an opportunity for people, no matter what range they want to make money in. And I will tell you that we are not very big at telling you what to do. We're really big at offering you an opportunity and allowing you to make as little or as much as you want to make. Provide an environment and a platform that will allow you to make $1 million a year if you want to, or if you just need an extra $10,000 a year, that's fantastic too. We have lots of people in our company like that. And we have systems and places to help you make that. So if you've been to, how many of you have ever been to a meeting before where the guy stands up in front and tells you how much money you can make? Anybody been to those meetings at all? Okay, the ones of you that didn't raise your hands would lie about other things too, right? I mean, folks, we've all been to those meetings, right? Somebody stands up at the front and says, we all make $1 million here. And I can make it sound so easy. You still have to work, and you're still dealing with people, so it's really a challenge. But we do have some uniquenesses in our system that make it special to work here. And I'm going to share what I consider the 5 biggest differences working in our company versus the rest of the financial industry. Because when it boils down to it, I mean, there are thousands of financial companies out there, and they all have the same products, all same kind of commissions, same kind of incentives. So what makes 5 Rings different? Why are we growing 100% a year and continuing to grow throughout the United States when the rest of the industry is on severe decline? And like I said, I think there's 5 basic reasons. Reason number 1 is when you start here, we take you through a field training or a mentoring or an apprenticeship process. If you go to work for a traditional financial company in America today, the first thing they do is take you into a classroom. Let's say this is you. They take you into a classroom and they stick you in there for 30 to 60 days. They teach you the whole industry inside out. They teach the products. You help memorize a flip chart presentation. You get your license. You do all those things. They teach you how to approach people. They give you scripts, all that stuff. And then at the end, when you're done and you're licensed, they come over and shake your hand and say, go get 'em, Tiger, good luck. And they send you out to your environment, to your group of people, to get eaten alive, honestly. And this is what it looks like in the industry today. Let's say that, and if this is like any other sales business in the world, the first thing that everybody tells you is to make a list of everybody that you know. So let's say that you had 20 people that are rock solid, guaranteed that you could make sales to those people. This is your mom and dad, brother and sister and all those people. Believe it or not, these are the most difficult people you will ever sell in your life in our industry. In any other industry, you could go right to those people. If you were selling flat screen TVs, no problem, they'll buy from you. You sell on cell phones, no problem. But when you're selling money, when you're handling their money, these are the most challenging people that you could ever work with. And so on a national average, this is not our numbers, this is the national average. If you go see 20 people, based on a national average, 2 of those 20 people will buy in the traditional industry system. 18 of your best friends, moms and dads, brothers and sisters, say no to you. So what are the chances of you staying in the business after 18 or 20 of your best friends say no to you? What do you think? Most people think, man, if I can't even get my mom to buy from me, who's going to buy from me, a total stranger? The reality is you had a better chance with a total stranger than you had with your mom. The reality is this is what's happening when you talk to these people yourself. When you go see these people yourself, and you're the best presenter in the world, you know the material inside out, you know the product's great, you're fantastic. And here's what they're thinking while you're talking. They're thinking, now wait a minute, weren't you just over here last month and you were trying to borrow some money because you're a little behind on your electric bill? And now you're going to be my financial planner, right? See, they don't say that out loud, they just think it. And if they think it, they don't buy from you. Or they might say, you know, Thanksgiving's in about a month and a half. Are you going to tell everybody in the family about my personal finances? You're going to tell them my secrets? They don't say it out loud, they just think it. And the bottom line is they do not buy. However, we work a mentoring system. When you come to work here, you'll spend the first 2, 3, or 4 months with a field trainer, with somebody, probably the person that introduced you to the company. That is your field trainer, or that person's manager is your field trainer. They will go with you on all those appointments, and if they go with you and do the presentation, you got to remember, they don't know, your prospects don't know this person from the man on the moon. They assume that it's a financial genius, right? Let's say you were taking me with you. They assume that my brother is Warren Buffett. They assume that I've been doing this for 400 years and I read the Wall Street Journal from front to back, okay? So what happens then is they listen to me, and when we go see these people, 14 of 20 will buy from us under those circumstances. And you actually learn on the job. You learn by watching somebody else do the business. You can't not learn how to do this business in a classroom. It's impossible. You can't learn how to do almost any business in a classroom. How many of you know how to change a tire? See, I know how to change a tire too. I call AAA. I've been doing it since I've been 16 years old. My dad was an accountant. My mom worked in the home. We were not manual labor people. If you felt my hands right now, you'd be aghast at how soft they are. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. And because I've not done much manual, not because I'm not a manual labor guy, but because, well, I'm not a manual labor guy. So anyway, so my dad, when I was 16 to get my license, the first thing he gave me was a AAA card. You get a flat tire, you get a problem, you call this. And it was fantastic, and I've used it lots of times. First thing I did when my kids got to be 16, gave them a AAA card. Anyway, but let's say you're the greatest tire changer in the world. Let's say Jim here is the greatest tire changer in the history of the world. We get done with this meeting, we go outside, and I got a doggone flat tire. I can't believe it. So I come in, and Jim sees me dialing my phone. By the way, I do have one callus in my body. It's that tip of my finger right there where I dial AAA. So that's my manual labor. So Jim says, what are you doing? I said, I'm calling AAA. I got a flat tire. He says, whoa, you don't need to call AAA. I'm the greatest tire changer in the history of the world. He said, come on, I'll show you how to do this. So he takes me out and he changes the tire. And I'm like, thanks very much. I got to get going. He says, no, we're not done. He said, this time I'm going to do half and you're going to do half. And I'll be here to make sure that you do it okay. And then I say, well, okay, great, that was great. And he says, no, we're not done. This time you do the whole thing, and I'll just stand here and watch and make sure that you do it right. How long would it take me to learn how to change a tire? 15 minutes, and I could do it the rest of my life. Imagine if I walked up here and I'm dialing AAA and Jim said, what are you doing? I said, I got a flat tire. He says, here's a DVD. Watch this DVD on how to change tires. Come to 30 days of training in a classroom and we'll teach you how to change tires. I may or may not get it, but if I watch him do it, do you understand how different that is? The traditional industry, 99 out of 100 companies teach you in a classroom and send you out to get killed. In our model, we send you out with an apprentice. America is the only country in the world that doesn't use the apprenticeship program. Almost every country in the world, when you get out of school, you're an apprentice for a period of 5 to 10 years to learn a craft and earn your living the rest of your life. So there's a period of time here. The difference in our model is you get to earn while you're learning. Because while you're doing business with your field trainer, you're getting half the commissions on all these sales. So you're earning while you're learning at the same time. So that's number one, and that's a huge thing. By the way, how many of these people do you think stay in the industry? 93% of the people who get a license in a traditional company are gone within 6 months, quit the industry completely. In our company, 70% of the people we hire will still be here 2 years from now. Huge difference between 7% and 70%, wouldn't you agree? And the number one reason that happens is this, the field training mentoring program. It's a huge part of our program. Number two, difference is we do everything through an education format, not a sales format. If you come to work with us, you're not going to sit through very much or almost no sales training. We don't teach that. We might teach communication skills. We might teach approach skills, and how to use scripts, things like that, but we don't teach a lot of sales. People are turned off in America by sales today. Sales feels very confrontational to most people. It's up, them against you. Even if they want what you're selling, they feel like if they buy, they lose, don't they? The salesman wins and they lose. Well, it shouldn't be that way. It should be a win-win situation in our eyes. And we found out that if you teach and educate people, that they will buy from you. We found out that middle Americans and baby boomers and our target market are very intelligent people, and that if you give them really good information, they'll make really good decisions. The financial industry thinks that middle America is a bunch of dum-dums, and they've been cramming products down our throats for 200 years. And those products were really good for those huge financial companies and not very good for the consumer. But they got caught a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago as a matter of fact. You know what caught them? The information age. You know what, you think about it, when I did let's say I did a sales presentation 30 years ago, when I left, those people either had to believe me or not believe me. Almost no way to check up on anything. The minute I get done with a sales presentation today, they can look up everything I say on an iPad before I even leave their house, right? It's amazing. The information is so available, so you better be good at teaching and educating. We're in a real information society today. People want to know. They want to understand. So we do everything through a teaching format, and we do that through a workshop called Money 101, Basic Fundamentals of how money works. So instead of teaching at a PhD level, where nobody, where people don't even understand what you're talking about, that's what the Merrill Lynches of the world do. We teach at let's say a high school or junior high level, which is where most people are at, and they understand the fundamentals of money, compound interest, tax deferral, all those types of things that we weren't taught in school that help them understand why they are where they're at and what they need to do to get to where they're going. And then we introduce a few products to them. So the educational format is fabulous. And I'll show you in just a few minutes the numbers there. How many of you would agree that it's probably easier to invite somebody to free dinner than it is to get an appointment to make a sale? Anybody would agree with that at all? It's like 100 times easier or 1,000 times easier. So 90% of our business is done through either a Money 101 or what we call Wine, Women, and Wealth, which I'll get to in a minute, which is a women's only financial seminar. So in the beginning, if you come to work for us, your only responsibility for the first 2 or 3 months is to be a fabulous inviter. If you can be a great inviter, if you can invite people to free dinner, bring them into our workshops and our seminars, we'll do all the work, and you get paid to bring those people in if they conduct business with us. Okay, number 3 reason that we're different is the dual career opportunity. Most people cannot leave their full-time job and come do this on a full-time basis, straight commission. They've got responsibilities, they've got bills they have to pay, and so starting on a dual career basis gives people a chance to learn the business over a period of time. It's the only way I could have ever started. It was a fabulous way for me to learn. Now, I will tell you that for probably 26 of my 32 years, I used to say that all the time, that it was the very best way to start here is start dual career if you can, and work through that, work over a period of time, work your way out of your job into a full-time career here. But 2008 really rocked our world. 2008 really rocked our country as massive people were unemployed and all sorts of people were looking for opportunities. And so 50% of the people that we talked to at that point needed to start full-time. And you can start full-time here. We just got to get after it. I'm just being honest with you. If you decide to start full-time here, then we have to be able to sit down with you and show you exactly activity-wise what you need to be able to do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you can meet your monthly requirements financially and make that happen. But if you start dual career, here's why we like dual career. You never have to, there's no high pressure if you're dual career. If you're already earning a living, if you already have a job and you're making income, then you go to make a sale. You don't have to make that sale to make a house payment, do you? See, what's today's date, the 28th? Today's the 28th, and on the 28th, you've got a house payment due in 3 days, right? 3 or 4 days? Well, if you are like a lot of salespeople, you got to make a sale tonight to make your house payment in 4 days. So just think about the pressure you might put on a client to buy today, right? If you had to make a sale. That's what happens when you're full-time and straight commission. But if you're part-time, you don't have to make that sale because you're making your income at your job and can make your house payment that way. You could learn this business over a period of time. Either way, we have both opportunities. Number 4 is marketing to women. The financial industry has notoriously been a good old boys club for 200 years. According to national statistics, it's 95% men and 5% women. And one time, about 7 or 8 years ago, I went to a seminar where I met a lady who was teaching about marketing to women. She said that by the year 2020, 63% of all the dollars in America in a retirement plan will be in the hands of a woman. 63%, that's some $35 trillion. And she went on to say if you polled those women today, they would tell you they'd rather work with a woman than a man if they had a choice. but in the financial industry, they don't have a choice if 95% of the representatives are men, right? So we decided 7 or 8 years ago to build the largest sales force of female advisors in America. 7 years ago, we were 95% men and 5% women, and today we are 56% female. We actually have more women in our company than we have men, and create one of the greatest opportunities in America today for a woman to earn a fabulous income and build a fabulous career. So Marketing to Women, within Marketing to Women, we built another workshop or another seminar called Wine, Women, and Wealth, which is a women's only money type workshop where women come and have a little socialization and network their businesses and learn a little bit about money. It's actually the fastest growing part of our company by far. And then what happens is women come to that meeting and then they all come together then too. How many of you know that women do things together? Anybody notice that? Okay. Any group of you women that need to go to the bathroom right now, let me know, okay? Guys, we'll do it by ourselves, right? So, but women do things in groups. So we find that women will go to the Wine, Women, and Wealth and have a blast and meet other women that love what we're doing, and then they all come together then to the Money 101, to the workshop. So it's a process. If you do things correctly, and you follow our model, you may never have to do anything except invite people to workshops over and over and over and over and let the numbers work for you. And finally, the fifth difference, and you might notice that you'll recognize that this is a huge difference, is that we have a lot of fun in our company. As you walked in today, you might have noticed there's lots of energy in our building. There's lots of energy in our sales force and the people that work here. People like being here, and we have a good time. So I was just sharing with some gentlemen a little bit earlier. If you think about let's think about the traditional technology industry. How about a company like IBM? Okay, if you thought of IBM, let's go to the corporate headquarters of IBM, and let's go to the top floor to the board of directors, and the board of directors and the, who else is up there? The president and the CEO and all those people. What do those people look like at IBM? What do you think, in your mind immediately, what do you think about those people that are running IBM? They're old and they're fat and they're men, right? Is that right? Okay, is that right? Okay, now let's go to Google. What does it look like at Google? You go to Google, you might see the CEO in cargo shorts and flip-flops. The CEO might be a woman, right? You have no idea. But where IBM is very corporate and very staid, Google is very entrepreneurial. And that's the way Five Rings is. You know, the traditional financial industry is very corporate, very staid, all suited up, old, fat men, right? And our company, look around this room, lots of thin men. So, with cool pink ties on, right? So, you know what? We have men and women and old and young. We're very entrepreneurial here. They're very corporate, we're very entrepreneurial, and we have a blast here. Whoever said that you can't have fun making money should be punched, right? It's okay to have a blast doing what you do and love what you do. And that's one of the reasons we grow so fast here. We grow so fast at Five Rings because everybody who's here wants to be here. They volunteer to be here. They want to be here. And when people come with that kind of an attitude, they just do a much better job. So let's talk about the possibilities. We're getting close to wrapping up here. I want to share with you that we kind of have a 3-step process to come to work with our company, to take a look at our company. This is the first step. We either meet on a one-on-one interview for an introduction of our company. The second step is that we'd like for you to attend either one of those workshops that I talked about, Money 101 or Wine, Women, and Wealth, or what we have tonight, which is called TNT, a Thursday night training. And then the third step is that you meet back again with the person that interviewed you to go through a comprehensive interview where we lay out how we get started, how you get promoted, how you make money, all those types of things, and really work through a strategy. The real goal of the third meeting is to find out what your goal is, and then allows us the chance to show you exactly what it would take to get from where you are to where you want to be. You know, we're not inventing the wheel anymore around here. 32 years in business, we've got a fabulous pattern, a fabulous model. And if you will get on that model and stay on that model and are willing to work hard and willing to persevere, no amount of money is out of reach, I promise you. So let's talk about the financial possibilities and show you how we do our business. It's just this simple. If you invite 10 people to a Money 101 or to a Wine, Women, and Wealth, so let's say we have one next week and you have 10 people in attendance. These are our national averages, and so here again they're averages. So some are going to be a little lower, some will be a little higher, but if you do this over a year, this should work out this way. When we do the workshop, we do things completely different than the traditional industry. When the people walk in, we don't make them fill out a registration form, we don't put a sticker on them with their name tag, we don't do anything, all the things they expect. Matter of fact, it's very relaxed and very comfortable. The presentation is very passive and very entertaining and very educational. So they had a good time. I promise you, they walk in like this. You know, they all walk in. If you invited 10 people, they'd all walk in like this, and they'd say, Jim, I don't have any money, and if I had any money, you're not getting it. I just came for the free dinner, right? And by the end of the night, they're hugging me, inviting me over to Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner with their family. It's really amazing to watch the transformation in a period of about 60 to 90 minutes. However, but what we do then while they're eating is we lay a single sheet of paper by them that's called an evaluation sheet. When they fill that evaluation sheet out, they're asking for an appointment. So if you had 10 people in there, our national average is that 8 of those people will fill out that form voluntarily. Now imagine if we gave them that form when they walked in the door, when they're like this. How many people would fill out the form? 0, probably, very few. But by the end of the evening, 8 fill it out. If you call those 8 people within 24 to 48 hours after the seminar, 7 of them will give you an appointment. You go with your field trainer on those appointments. The field trainer does 100% of the work. On a national average, 4 of those 7 will buy from us within 60 to 90 days. Okay? Our average commission currently is running about $1,200 commission. That's our average. We had somebody just this week that made almost $20,000 in her first week here. Okay? So that's way above average. And then we have people that if you sell a little term insurance policies, you only might make $200 or $300. So it averages out about $1,200. So if you could get 10 people a month to a seminar and 4 of them buy, and that was the average, you'd be looking at $4,800 of commissions and income for that process. The good news is you're not limited to 10. If you'd like to bring 50, you're allowed. You know, but if you can only bring 2, that's fine too. The numbers still work the same way, obviously. So that's basically how it works, and you can do that part-time or full-time. You know, and we have 2 different career paths here. We have a sales career path and we have a management career path. And here again, like I said earlier, we're not big on telling you which one you want to do. We give you that opportunity to decide for yourself. Usually takes about 3 to 6 months for you to figure out whether or not you'd like to get into management and hire and train other agents, or whether you just want to sell. How many of you are familiar with Keller Williams at all? Anybody familiar with Keller Williams, the real estate company? Keller Williams, we operate our model very similar to Keller Williams. At that company today, 80% of the people that work there only sell real estate. That's all they do. That's all they ever want to do. But 20% are actively recruiting other agents and build an agency of their own. And because they did that over the last 36 years now, they've become the #1 real estate company in America by doing that process. We follow that model very closely. 80% of the people that come to work here generally just sell, and that's all they ever want to do. And we teach them how to get more and more clients and more clients. But 20% are actively interested in building an agency, and we teach them how to do that too. That would be completely up to you. The bottom line is, we have plenty of opportunity. It is the financial industry. We are different, but you still have to work. And one of the uniquenesses of our system is we'd like you to find out whether you'd like to work here or not. We'd prefer that you test drive our company before you make the decision whether to come with us or not. You know, it's fascinating to me that most people would never buy a car without test driving it. But they go to work for companies every day without test driving the company. I mean, so all of us have done that, right? You take a job just because you need a job and you need a check, and you wake up 10 years later and you're like, what am I doing here? I can't believe in 10 years your life is gone. What if you test drove that company first and you found out that you didn't like the culture or like how they're doing business that would have made a difference in your life? So we prefer that you test drive us a little bit. So what we'd like for you to do is come to a Money 101, or come to a Wine, Women, and Wealth, or come to what we call a TNT, a Thursday night training. As a matter of fact, we start that in about 30 minutes right here. Every Thursday night from this room, we do a training every single Thursday night. We profess to be an education-based company. It's our theory that if we're going to be educators, we need to be the most educated. So we do a constant training, constant training that we stream live to our thousands of agents throughout the United States, but we do it live right here every single Thursday night. That gives you a chance to test drive us. If you see how the Money 101 works, or you see how our Wine, Women, and Wealth works, you feel the culture, you see the people, you see how they're reacting, you see the business actually transact, you see how we handle training. One of 2 things generally happens there. Number 1, you might fall in love with it. You might think, holy cow, I've been looking for this my whole life. Where in the world has this been? I wish I'd have found this 25 years ago. Or number